You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 320. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robyn Jackson. And I'm going to say something right now that's going to probably challenge everything that you've been taught about what it means to lead a school. You don't need buy-in. I know, I talk to principals all the time and they say, the big thing I want is I just want my staff to buy in. And we're wandering around like door-to-door salespeople talking to our staff members and trying to help them buy in. But if people can buy in, they can also sell out. And so in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about why you don't really need buy-in, why you don't even want it, and what you want to go for instead. So let's dive in. So think about what's happening or has happened in your building in the past, right? One day your staff is nodding at the faculty meeting, they're smiling in PD, they are enthusiastic about whatever program you're rolling out. And then the next day when they get back in their rooms, they're doing their own thing. And it's like, we never even talked about it. And they're doing things the way that they've always done them because what happened is they got hyped up because of your presentation or because of the moment in the room, but you didn't really change their minds. And the reason you didn't change their minds is because they weren't really aligned to what you were trying to do in the first place. They may have had an emotional reaction to it. They may have bought in at the moment, but the moment they get back into their classrooms, things change. And that's because the idea of buy-in is really a myth, right? When people say they buy in at the moment, it's an emotional reaction, but it isn't true commitment. We've been taught that the holy grail is staff buy-in, that you just want to get your staff to buy in, and that's the most important thing. And a lot of the leadership strategies that we're taught are really about buy-in, but buy-in is conditional. It depends on people's mood or their energy or the popularity of the idea at the moment or peer pressure or whatever they're feeling or, whether their blood sugar is normal. I mean, like it's dependent upon the moment, right? But then people, after they have time to think about it, after they have time to consider the cost, a lot of people choose to return the idea that they originally bought. They take it back. They don't buy in. They sell it out later on. I mean, think about it. Think about how at the beginning of every school year, you lay out the plan and everybody is bought in, and by October, everybody's tired and fatigued and they're no longer bought in. They are sold out. They are just done. Or think about how, you have a great faculty meeting and everybody's excited and energized. And then when you go in a classroom a week later to, see the changes happening in the classroom, everybody's doing the same thing they were always doing. Think about that back to school rollout and everybody's like, yeah, this is the year we're going to really do it. And then, the moment the first kid acts up, they're like, yeah, forget that program. This wasn't going to work anyway. Because buy-in tends to be emotional, not structural, right? So although you've been taught to aim for buy-in and you've even been told that if your staff doesn't believe in the work, they're probably not going to implement it, you've been sold a false bill of goods, right? Because you're so busy running around trying to get buy-in, bending over backwards, over-explaining, over-justifying, trying to get everybody excited, trying to keep everybody excited about an idea, and trying to get everybody to buy in before you can even move forward. And at the beginning, it kind of works, right? People say the right things, they smile, they get all enthusiastic, but enthusiasm is not execution, right? People can get all bought in, but the real test comes when you are looking for a change in behavior. And that's when buy-in begins to sell out, right? Because again, buy-in is emotional, right? And anything that's emotional can shift. So you don't want buy-in. You don't need buy-in to get started. What you want and what you need is alignment. Now, let me tell you how alignment is different. When you have buy-in, it's everybody is enthusiastic and they agree and there's a positive attitude and there's visible compliance. People are smiling and nodding and yes, and I'm going to do it and making commitments, right? But what happens in order to get buy-in is that you spend a lot of time appeasing people. You're trying to make them happy so that they can stay bought in. You are constantly reselling the idea and justifying why you want people to do it. And the trap is that a lot of times you misinterpret their enthusiasm for true commitment. So you run around and it's almost like you're a politician begging for votes, or you are a door-to-door salesperson hoping that somebody will buy into your ideas. And as a result, you spend a lot of time chasing buy-in and you are stuck. You can't move forward until you get it. And then the real danger is this. Because buy-in relies on you to persuade people and convince people and talk them into doing something, the danger that happens is that if they can be talked into doing something, they can also be talked out of it. And in many cases, they will talk themselves out of it. So have you ever had a situation where you talked to teachers and said, this is the way to go, and you did a really good job of convincing them? And then something happens. They go to the meeting after your meeting, or they get together in small groups, or they try it and they hit a roadblock. And all of a sudden, they have talked themselves out of it. And they're like, at the time I was really excited, but I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Or at the time I was really excited, but then I thought about it and I started thinking about all the things that could go wrong. And all of a sudden, I'm not as excited anymore, right? That's because buy-in is fragile and it's often based on personality, like how charismatic you are. It's based on people's preferences. It's based on whether or not something feels good in the moment. But the moment the work gets hard, the moment that teachers get pushback from parents, the moment it doesn't work with that one kid, all of a sudden the buy-in is gone and they start selling out. And it's not malicious. I come from a neighborhood where being a sellout is like almost one of the worst things that you could be, right? But it's not about that kind of sellout, right? It's not malicious or it's not a betrayal. It's just that because buy-in is fragile, if you are not constantly tending it, then people will easily sell out. They just stop executing. They default to what's comfortable. They go back to what they were doing before. And so it's not, like I said, betrayal. It's just that buy-in, you have to keep fanning the flames of buy-in in order to keep it going. And that's exhausting, y'all. I mean, think about last school year. Think about how often things fell apart the moment you stop holding them together. Do you really want another school year like that? Think about how last year you started out strong and then your energy faded and you blamed yourself. You said, I dropped the ball. But the problem was you were the only one carrying the ball. So when you dropped the ball, everything fell apart. Versus if everybody was carrying it, if you let the ball slip for a little bit, those things keep moving because there are other people carrying it. And it gives you a chance to get yourself together, pick the ball back up and keep going. How many times last year were you just exhausted because you were so busy sustaining everybody else's enthusiasm that you had no room, time, or energy or space to feed your own enthusiasm? That's the trap of chasing buy-in. When you chase it, you are the only one that's doing the work. And so what happens is you have this, it's almost like emotional whiplash, right? You roll something out and you have such hope that this is going to make a difference. And then everybody's enthusiastic at the beginning. I mean, you may have one or two naysayers, but for the most part, people are really excited or supportive about it. And Then you go to the team meeting and you're like, why aren't you talking about the thing that we said we were going to talk about? You go to the PLC and why aren't you using the protocol that you all were so excited about when I rolled it out? You sit down, you go visit a classroom. And you're like, why aren't you doing the thing that we all agreed that we were going to do to move kids forward? And after a while, you begin resenting your teachers. You begin to be frustrated. And then you also start to wonder, is it me? Like, am I not charismatic enough? Is it something I'm doing? Should I be pushing harder? And you're blaming yourself, but it's not your fault. The problem isn't you, and the problem isn't your teachers. The problem is you are chasing buy-in instead of alignment. You see, when you have true alignment, they don't have to like the plan. They just need to understand it. They need to understand how it fits in your bigger vision, and they need to be willing to execute it because they get it. They see the value of it, even if they don't like it. With alignment, you don't have to wait for anybody's permission. It's not dependent upon everybody being happy before you get started. Alignment is built on clarity. We're clear about the vision, the mission, the core values. We all agree to that. And when you have true alignment, you don't have to micromanage every little piece to get buy-in. When you have true alignment, you can be stubborn on the vision. This does not change, but you can be flexible on the details, the execution of that vision. And when you have alignment, you don't have to force everybody to be in lockstep, cookie cutter, everybody doing the same thing the same way all the time. As long as we are all doing things that are in alignment to our vision, mission, and core values, it's good. So instead of you figuring out the problem and then handing it to people or selling it to people and hoping that they, quote unquote, buy in, you are getting everybody clear and committed to the bigger vision, mission, and core values. And once you are in alignment, then it's not your job anymore to solve the problem. It's everybody's job. Everybody is committed to solving the problem. Everybody is coming up with solutions. And when that happens, there's true ownership, not because they bought in, but because they built it. Think about that. Think about how you value something you bought versus something you built. If the thing that you bought breaks, what do? I mean, you may regret it a little bit, but you throw it away and you go buy another one. But if it's something that you built and it breaks, you're devastated, first of all, because it's valuable to you. It represents something that you crafted. But the other thing you do is that if it's something you built and it breaks, you don't just toss it out. You fix it because you built it. And that's true ownership. You see, buy-in doesn't create that lasting sense of ownership. It's a thing. It broke. I'll get another one on Prime. It'll be here tomorrow. You don't have the same commitment to something you bought versus something you built. That's true ownership. I built this. And you can't get people involved in building if you are focused on buy-in versus alignment. You can't get people truly invested in the work if you have already built it and then you're handing it to them and hoping they'll buy it from you, versus coming together and saying, here's what we need, let's build it together. And when you build it together, there's true ownership. And people don't tear down what they helped build. So true alignment means that you come together, the burden isn't all on you, everybody is responsible for solving the problem. When you come up with a solution, everybody's responsible for implementing it and making it successful. You don't have to prove to somebody that it'll work before they start. People are invested in making it work. When you have true alignment and you build together, then people are supportive and protective of it because people don't tear down what they helped build. When you have true alignment instead of buy-in, then people are a lot more proactive, right? They're not waiting for you to come sell them something else. They've built it. They are redesigning it. They're rethinking it all the time. They're tweaking it. They're making it better because they built it. When you have alignment instead of buy-in, you don't have to waste time running around maintaining everybody's enthusiasm, looking for the next team building activity to keep everybody bought in. Yeah, the team building activity is building the thing. The bonding experience comes from solving problems together. The thing that helps us gel as a team and work together as a team is because we have a shared vision, mission, and core values, and we're all committed to making that work for every single kid. Buy-in traps you, keeps you selling door to door. It's fickle. It's based on emotions and people's, whether or not they ate breakfast that morning or whether or not they like working with this person or that. It's based on all these things you can't control. Alignment is based on things you can control. Because when you have that commitment to the vision, the mission, the core values, and everybody's committed to that, then everybody is responsible. You're not running around chasing, checking, and correcting people, policing people. Are they still bought in? Did they sell out? I don't know. What you are doing instead is you are supporting people because they are committed. They hold themselves responsible. They are doing the right work the right way for the right reasons because they're committed, because they are truly in alignment. And when you have true alignment, your staff, you don't have to lead. Your staff leads themselves. What you're doing is providing the conditions and the processes and the systems to keep this thing moving, to keep the momentum up, to make sure that you are aligned with the right vision and you stay in alignment. Your job stops being about policing people and starts being about sustaining the alignment. And so that frees you up to do the work you really want to do. Nobody wants to be running around selling ideas to people. What you want to do is to be involved in something meaningful, to be working towards a common goal, to see results. So if you are currently thinking about how I'm going to get them to buy in this year, I want you to stop. It's not about buy-in. Buy-in is a trap, and we need to stop trying to get people to buy in. What I want for you this year is I want you to not be wearing yourself out trying to get buy-in, trying to appease people, trying to make sure everybody's happy, trying to beg and plead with people to do the right thing. That's not why you came into this profession. What I want for you instead is to build real alignment. Because when you build real alignment, things feel different in the building. When you build real alignment, things start coming together. You're not pulling all by yourself. Everybody's pulling in the same direction with you. People are being proactive. People are focused on solving problems. People are focused on achieving your vision, mission, and core values instead of tearing you down. People are focused on building something lasting instead of tearing each other down. That's what happens when you have true alignment. That's one of the reasons why I talk about alignment a lot. And it's one of the reasons why every summer we do a boot camp. And I keep wanting to change the topic, but every year when I come back to it, if you don't have alignment, nothing else I teach you really matters. So I need to teach you alignment first. So we've got something coming up. We're going to be doing another boot camp this summer, and it's going to be absolutely free, and it's on staff alignment. Doors aren't open yet, but they will be opening up soon. So here's what you need to do. First thing is, if you are not signed up for the newsletter, the announcements for this podcast each week on email, you need to go to schoolleadershipreimagined.com and sign up. That way you get the registration notices so you know when it's time to sign up. The second thing you can do is you can go to buildershipuniversity.com, and that's where we're going to be putting all the so if you're not getting the emails or you don't see it, you can always check. We're going to be putting the sign up sheet for the boot camp that's happening in a few weeks. The boot camp's going to be happening at the end of July. I'm probably telling you too much already. Anyway, the sign up for the boot camps are going to open up next week, so you want to look out for that. And then during the boot camp, I'm going to show you how to go from buy-in to true alignment. And do that with the work you're kind of already doing, but I'm going to show you how to think about that work differently. I'm going to give you some systems that, if you put them in place, could mean the difference between spending the year chasing and checking and correcting people and spending the year building something together, having a staff that's all working for the same goal, that's all rowing in the same direction. So just look out for that, because here's the deal. If you continue to chase buy-in, you're constantly selling and reselling ideas. Because like I said, if people can buy in, they can also sell out. What you want is for people to truly own the work. You want people to truly own this work, to hold themselves accountable for success, regardless of whether you are looking. You want people doing the right work, the right way, for the right reasons, even when you're not checking. And I'm going to show you how to do that at the boot camp. There is such a difference in the way your school feels when you have alignment versus buy-in. And so I'm challenging you this week to stop chasing buy-in. It's a trap. You don't need it. In fact, if you get buy-in, it creates more problems. What you need is alignment. What you need is to get everybody in your building into true alignment, because that's how you begin to move forward. That's how you create true ownership and accountability in your school. That's how you actually begin to move forward in achieving your vision together, because you're seeking alignment versus buy-in, and you're building that alignment like a builder. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now, with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me, where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today.